Hi, I'm here with Maya Loyd, and even though her name is spelled M-I-A, it's pronounced Maya, right? So earlier, just a moment ago, we were talking about the genesis of your name. So can we start with that?
Yeah, so I actually was named after Maya Angelou. My parents very much liked her poetry, her writing, her artwork, all of that stuff. So they named me after her. They didn't realize that, 30 some years later, there would be a bunch of Mias and Mayas spelled kind of phonetically correct, whereas mine is not. So I do have to correct a lot of people a lot of times, but usually when I'm in Europe, I kind of just let Mia slide because it's just, yeah, easier, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. And when did your parents actually decide that your name is okay? So I'm going to phrase that question differently. Why did they decide to spell your name that way? Do you know?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just
Okay.
I have no idea. I think it was more unique back then because not really many MIAs were rolling around um as much as they are now. So I think it was more like a unique spelling, like let's name her after some prestigious lady, but change up the spelling a bit, which I don't know why, but whatever. I like MIA now, so it's just who
Yeah,
I am.
okay, but it's strange. But do you have to actually come up to commentators and just correct them before every season starts?
Sometimes I do. It's
Okay.
mainly like my coaches and teammates because
Okay.
obviously when they see that my name is written MIA, they assume that my name is Mia. So I'll correct them. But as far as like I said in Europe, they just call me Mia. And when I'm here back in Australia or back home, like I prefer that they call me Maya just
Okay.
because I could speak English.
Okay. So
So no
so
excuses there.
okay. So as you've already revealed, you're in Australia and you started this season with a bang, right? 19 points, 18 boards, 10 dimes, a triple double in your first game back in the
Yeah.
NBL 1. So, can you tell us more about what the NBL 1 is?
So the NBL one is basically a season. I guess if you play overseas or if you play in the WNBL, it's like an off season for us. It's just kind of a short season where teams in different cities throughout the states of Australia play like I'd say it's like a more professional than like semi-professional league. Because you have imports, you have paid players, you have WNBL players that play, even WNBA players that come over and play. So yeah, it's a really good league. It's lots of fun, but it's also a nice way of staying in shape because it is kind of like off-season play. You don't practice as much, but you do get high quality games and everything as well. So then once you play in kind of your conference, they've done it where now once you win your conference, you go out and play like basically nationwide. So yeah, it'll
Mhm.
be fun. It'll be a fun season this year for sure.
Okay, okay. So, what are your expectations for the season, like on a team level and individual level?
Individually, just working on things because it is my off season, working on things that I want to continue to prepare for with my regular season, whether I play in Europe or not, or other places. I really, really would like to work on, dropping dimes and making those awesome passes. I think that that's really fun. That I've reached a stage in my career where I can kind of advance to a different level of like thinking outside of the box now, besides scoring and rebounding. As far as the team goes, I think just having that team chemistry that we've already built kind of on and off the floor, continuing that throughout the entire season, being, the best defensive team, keeping to our goals that we have as a team, holding different teams to certain points and rebounds and kind of reaching our goals throughout that. Obviously, getting to finals would be great. And then just going from there.
Okay. And your team is called the Dolphins, which is pretty cool, I
Yeah,
guess,
Cairns
right?
Dolphins. Yep,
Like
yep. And then
a
the
cool
men's
name. Yeah.
Yeah, men's teams are the Marlins. So it's like the
Okay.
Dolphins and the Marlins.
Okay. Okay. That's I would think orcas would be a better choice because of the fact that they're mammals, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that still makes
That's a great
sense.
idea, actually.
Yeah, and they're more like fierce, right? So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay, and what? So this is your third year in Australia or second?
Oh no, this is like my seventh year,
Seventh.
actually.
Jesus, my math was
Hmm.
really off on this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No,
Ah,
I've
I'm
been here
sorry.
for a while, actually. Yes, I've been playing here for a while. So,
So every year is like Australia, Europe, Australia, Europe, Australia, Europe. How do you?
yes, there has been only a few years where I've not played in Australian league or I've not played in a Europe league. But other than that, I usually go year round.
Okay.
So,
And how do you avoid burnout in such circumstances? Because it's easy probably to get burned out, right? It's like basketball all year
definitely.
round. So how do you
Yes, most
manage to,
most definitely.
yeah, how do you manage to not get burned out?
I would say I don't really manage it. Sometimes it comes and it happens to come and I just happen to have to, deal with it in that moment. But it doesn't come very often, which I'm thankful for. I think because, Australia's season is less taxing than my European season. You know, it's it, it's easier to just kind of think of it as fun off-season playing that keeps me in shape and luckily I get paid to do it. So I'm here with like friends, family. It's obviously my home now, so it's warm, you know what I mean? So the environment is great, everything is just awesome, so it's easy to kind of not get burnt out when you're in an environment like this. Overseas is a lot different. Obviously, the season is longer. Usually, I'm playing somewhere that's cold and dark, so it's a bit harder there. But by then, I just call my sister and beg her to come see me because she lives in the UK, so not too far away.
Okay.
So she definitely, yes, she's saved my life a couple times when it's come to that.
And is it harder for her to travel and visit you now that UK is outside the European Union, or not really?
I mean,
Not
not
currently.
really, no.
Yeah.
Tickets are still pretty cheap. It's just now she has to go through passport control.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
extra gate. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, so you spoke about playing in places that are cold and dark, and that's probably the association that people might have with the place that you've played in this
Hmm.
season in
Hmm.
Latvia. And Player of the Year, Import Player of the Year, Forward of the Year, and Finals MVP. I'm guessing you're pretty happy with the way the season in Latvia went, right?
I overall, yes. I would say more so as a team, very happy about that. We did have some unfortunate things kind of happen as far as injuries go when it came to our Baltic League finals. One of the imports that we brought in, she ended up breaking her wrist. I ended up pulling my hamstring. So it was just a lot of domino effect of unfortunate events. But at the same time, we still medaled in our Baltic League, a third place. And then we obviously won the Latvian league. So it was just awesome to kind of go throughout that whole season with the ups and downs and still finish with two medals. As far as Europe or Euro Cup goes, I think we could have done a little bit better, but at the same time, we won a game, so that's good. But yeah, overall, I would say I'm very pleased. I haven't had a breakout season like that in a while, so I would say that was one of my best seasons in Europe so far, and I'm very pleased with myself and happy. But I was surrounded by a great team who was able to you know, help me achieve those awards.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have the point guard that I had or the shooting guards that I had or forwards that I have as well to play off of. So I think it was an awesome year, but as well as the team goes, it was
Okay.
hats on
And
to
can you tell
them.
us more about Latvia, like on a day-to-day level? How is life in Latvia? Because it's a pretty small country, right? As you
Hmm.
said, it's placed uh, at the Baltic Sea, on the Baltic Sea. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
English is my
yep, on the
second
Baltic.
language, so on the Baltic
Hmm.
Sea. So how is life there, like on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got there, obviously the weather was a lot better. And then when I left, the weather was really good. So it was like between those days, it was just unreal beautiful. I've never been to Latvia, so it was just really, really beautiful. Where I was in Riga, it was an awesome city. They had amazing coffee shops, which I love, and pastries and food, and all of that was great as well as the scenery. So that was really great. But as soon as it started getting dark and cold, it was a bit different. Not as many walks and strolls just outside, just headed to the gym and back. But it was really fun. I actually enjoyed my time there a lot. I think the club. Um, it's a very prestigious club as well. So I think that being a part of that kind of history book is really awesome also. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, probably the best in the country, the best that they have,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
definitely.
that's pretty cool. So you've
Hmm.
played in Australia, Belgium, Finland, Iceland, Luxembourg, Portugal, and Latvia. No Poland yet. I
No,
hope
Poland. Yeah,
we will
yeah.
see you here,
Yeah, maybe you never
because
know.
I'm in Poland. And so, what country was, or which country was most memorable for you, and why?
I get that question a lot, and it's actually so hard to answer because every country that I've played in is completely different.
Very
Um,
diplomatic, yeah.
Yeah, no, the best food was probably, I would say, Portugal. The best, nature and scenery that you're not going to get anywhere else in the world is Iceland. I obviously enjoyed my time with my teammates in Finland because I've been back, I went back three years
Mm-hmm.
not in a row, but 3 years
Yeah.
playing there. Luxembourg, it was really great. I loved playing there as well. I'm not gonna lie. The basketball was great. My teammates were great. As
And
far as
the country has like a small town feel, which is also pretty
it
cool
does,
because
it
everything
really
is so
does.
close, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I also very much appreciate the free transportation there. I think that's so awesome. Even though I had a car and everything, it was like, no, I might as well take advantage of the free transportation. So, Australia is obviously my home, now. So it's really hard to like answer that question because they're all so different. But I would say,
You didn't
as
say
far as
nothing about
bas
Belgium. I'm sorry. I just don't want to
I
like
didn't. I know
the
that's
the
probably
chocolates
one that
probably, right? Are let's be nice. The waffles and the chocolates and just yeah.
the waffles and the chocolate for sure. Yes, yes, the chocolate for sure.
Okay, sorry, because
I
you
would
were supposed to. Yeah.
no, it's okay. I would say Latvia has probably been my top favorite so far. Obviously, well, outside of Australia, Latvia has probably been my top favorite so far. I very
Because
much
of
enjoyed it.
the what you were able to achieve on the court.
As far as the basketball goes, we're playing at we are playing three different leagues, Euro Cup and Baltic and Latvian. So, as far as the basketball goes, it was just high quality games, and you're playing against other high quality teams, especially in the Baltic League, other Euro Cup leagues. My teammates were great. The club was great. The food was great. Like overall, it was a really great experience. I would
Okay.
say it could have been a little bit lighter and warmer, but I knew what I signed up for, so it's fine.
Yeah, we don't get many sunny days at the
Yeah.
Baltic on at the Baltic Sea, so that sucks. Okay, and your dad played overseas basketball as well. Were his experiences any helpful in your decision to make the initial leap to play outside the US?
I think so, yes. So he played in Switzerland, and once, he graduated college, he headed straight over. And my sister and I were, babies essentially at the time. So my mom kind of took us over as well. I would say because I knew that you could do basketball as a career for a while, especially as a women's player playing in Europe, not just America. I thought that had, some influence on what I decided to do as far as going to college and then what I wanted to do after college. I think that was definitely the goal. Not a lot of people know this, but I almost went to college to play volleyball. So I think the influence that had was I could do more with basketball as far as traveling, seeing the world, playing, making it kind of more a career for a long term wise. That definitely had an influence on it. So yeah.
Okay, okay, and so you went there for a year, Switzerland, when you were a kid.
Yes, yep,
Okay,
yes. My dad ended up breaking, he played and then he actually broke his foot and then he got a coaching job and so we moved back to the States and that's when he kind of started his coaching career and we just followed him throughout the world.
okay, and so I'm guessing that your dad was influential in you picking up the basketball for the first time, right? So can you tell us
Yes, I
more
mean, my
about it?
mom, yeah, no, definitely. He played, my mom did play as well. So it was just kind of always in our household around us. My brother, sister, and I, we always were super active kids. So my parents definitely let us explore other options, gymnastics, football, soccer. We didn't play softball. My mom was kind of bummed out about that because she was a softball player, but they definitely let us expand our horizons when it came to sports. And I just kind of reverted more towards basketball and that kind of stuck. So.
Okay. And can you tell us more about playing at De La Salle and winning the Athena Award? How important is it and what is it? Because a lot of people don't really know what it is, right?
So the Athena Award is basically an award given to a female athlete in the state, and I thought that it was it was honestly an honor to be one nominated, but secondly, actually getting the award. It was definitely a high honor. I had only been at the school for two years, my last 2 years of high school. I also did come in with, ACL injuries as well. I had hurt myself. So I only got to play 1 year, and it was kind of my breakout year, my senior year. So not only was it great to be nominated, but it was an awesome award to have. And I think that was I'm very thankful for that. De La Salle was an awesome school. I've never experienced anything like it because I always went to public schools my whole life. And I just had moved from country town, Virginia, to big city Minneapolis with a private Catholic school. But the basketball there is just unreal when you're playing against different athletes throughout the city. But yeah, it was a memorable time, De La Salle. I very much remember. Yeah, it was a memorable time. I will
Yeah.
say that.
And how did you adapt to moving from, as you said, small town Virginia to living in Minnesota? What were like the initial days like for you?
The initial days, sorry.
The first days, yeah, when you moved there. How
It was
hard was it
hard.
to adjust?
Yeah, it was very hard. I mean, like I said, we're kind of used to moving. We're a very nomadic family because my dad's job.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I got told that I have, especially coming straight from Virginia to Minnesota, a lot of people made fun of my accent. I had a country accent a bit more stronger than. Um, as far as the weather goes, Minnesota is cold. So that was a hard adjustment that first year because, oh man, they did not play about the cold there. Um, Even the city, I didn't really live in the city. I kind of lived outside of Charlottesville. So even living in the city of Minneapolis, it being like noisy and stuff like that, definitely had to adjust there. But there's a lot. It was fun. It was a good experience. I don't think I would
Okay.
go back, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, and then you're recruited and you eventually decide to play in North Dakota. But what other schools did recruit you and how did the recruitment process look like? Do you remember?
I I mean, I played AAU, so I got a lot of looks from playing in tournaments there and doing travel basketball. But as far as the recruiting process, it was, I first got the letters and then the calls from coaches and then the um went and did the visits and stuff like that. And I did get offer from Penn State as well as UNC. And by then I actually had decided I was really really keen on Penn State, but I had torn my ACL then, and they just it's political, so you got to just move on, and that's what
Okay.
they did. So I was fortunate enough. I was excited to get recruited and play for the University of North Dakota. I thought it was fun playing for a mid-major Division 1 school, where it's obviously not as big campus wise and college wise, but it was still big enough where it was based mainly around the community. The community loved their sports. We were a national uh, hockey team. We had national championships there. You know, we did well for basketball when we went and changed conferences. Our men's basketball program's great. You know, our football team did well. So we have had a lot of success throughout the college as well. And it was, yeah, it was a great 4 years. I was very thankful to end up there, and I have friends there that I've made for life as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And you won the Big Sky Conference tournament, right? In
Mhm.
2014, you made
Yeah,
history, your team made history because
we
you
did.
appeared
Yeah.
in the NCAA tournament for the first time.
Mhm.
So how did you feel about joining a school that had no prior history in playing in the NCAA tournament? And how did it feel to make history while being a part of that team?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that North Dakota, because they were, you know, Division II school for a while as well, but they had racked up a lot of championships. So it's not, you know, the team and the school and the program, the women's program, were known for winning culture. So just to be a part of that and knowing that I was going into that culture was, you know, one thing that I did tick off the box for, and knowing that that's what's, you know, something that I wanted to be a part of. As far as moving conferences, obviously my first year was a bit rough as a as a freshman because we had just gotten into the conference. But as that sophomore year hit, I think everybody kind of got on board and was like, okay, we have a very, very talented team. Let's just take it off and go from there. And that's what we did. And I thought that it was awesome to be a part of history. I get goosebumps thinking about, you know, a championship game, being able to play the first time NCAA, even going back when I can, and seeing, you know, our flag on the in the rosters and stuff. It's awesome to know that, like, hey, we were a part of that. I ended up getting a ring in college and a championship and obviously an MVP. So I think that that was just it's just incredible to be a part of. Um, and it was so much fun playing, you know, like when you're from small town North Dakota and you're playing at, you know, kind of that mid-major school, and then you go to play against, you know, Texas A&M, who's a completely,
That's
you
what I
know,
wanted to ask.
different.
How did it feel? Like you're entering into
Yeah,
their court, right?
yeah.
It's yeah, and it's such a big school, such a big program. So how did it feel?
Hmm. Yeah, it was like it was kind of like what you see on TV. Like you're just walking in and you're like, wow, this is nothing that we're used to. You know, like campuses were huge. Like obviously they had just amazing athletes as well that, you know, we didn't encounter because they're a higher sense of
Level or well,
yeah, still Division 1,
okay.
but it's just the athleticism were, you know, was
Yeah.
different. We hung on for a while though. I will say that we did hang on for a while during that game, and then they kind of just they're just a great
Yeah.
school as well. So it was awesome though. Happy to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah, and you majored, just to close out the topic of your college career, you've
Mhm.
majored in communication science and disorders. Can you
Yes.
tell us more about that and how is the degree helpful in your basketball career as well?
As far as the basketball career goes, I don't really think so.
No, no
um,
disorders you have like encountered
yeah,
people
no.
who ultra competitive and no, okay,
No, I always been a huge fan of you know, sociology and psychology, kind of like learning about other people. I've always been really good with other people, but then learning more in depth about people. And I thought, hey, you know, this major here has a little bit of everything, so why not go for it? Plus, now that, you know, I'm kind of ending, well, not really nearing the end of my career, but kind of having to look at what's going to be next. I can kind of do a lot with that, as far as like social work and dealing with, you know, going into dealing with or being a part of a career where I can, you know, deal with children and still on the psychology matter as well as the sociology matter. So I think that that's kind of a fun thing because it's such a broad uh, degree that I don't
hmm,
have to kind of specify and stay in one lane. So I really like
yeah.
that I chose that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you said that you plan on working on your passes
Yeah.
this season, but one thing
Hmm.
that stands out in your basketball career is your rebounding ability.
Yeah.
Like I mean, not that tall when it comes to the
Yeah.
number of rebounds that you're able to get. You know what I mean, right? Like
Yes,
your height
100%.
shouldn't like allow you to get as many rebounds as you do.
Mm.
So I want to ask you, how do you do it? How are you able to just grab as many boards as you're doing?
I think when in high school, my high school coach, Coach White, had told me one time that rebounding is 100% effort. And that kind of just stuck with me. I don't I yes I thankfully have the ability to jump decently high. But at the same time, I think I've gotten a knack of like kind of reading where the ball goes, it's basic pi math, I guess. If the ball, is shot from this way, the trajectory of it might come this way. So kind of, reading off of that, but doing the little work that comes before that, boxing out so the ball lands in front of me, or being a part of a team that has great, players that do their job boxing out so that I can go get the rebound, stuff like that. So I think it's just the effort of it. I think that I'm yeah, because you're right. Like my height does not.
I mean, it's not that
It
you're not
shouldn't.
small. It's not nothing
Yeah,
like that.
I'm
It's
not
that
small, but I'm not
see,
that tall. So
yeah. So that's awesome that you're able to just, outsmart the taller players and just, make your way to the basket. That's pretty awesome.
essentially,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's what you're able to do. So that's pretty great. Okay, so
yeah. Thank you.
just to finish up, what's the plan for, because Australia is home right now, right? So
At the
what
moment, yes, yeah.
yeah, so what's the plan for after this NBL 1 season concludes for you? Is there a plan?
There's not really a plan at the moment. I either will hopefully stay maybe in Australia and play. Or I might go back overseas to Europe and play. I might go, to a different country or continent to play. I don't really know what the plan is. I know I'm going to play. I just don't know where. We're kind of working on that part of things. So there is a plan, just not sure exactly what the plan is.
Okay, so you plan, but you still plan on continuing to play basketball for, I don't know, how many years? Is there like a time limit?
I wouldn't say there's a time limit, no. I'm
Okay,
just
that's
gonna
awesome.
I'm just gonna go and do it as well as my body can, and for as well as long as I love it.
Okay.
I never want to leave the floor hating the game that I love so much. And I'm also the type of person that's like, once I kind of achieve kind of the goals I've set out for myself, if I'm happy, leaving the game with that, I'll be happy doing that. I hope it's not anytime soon. I'm very thankful and grateful for my body to allow me to continue to be able to play, especially at the level that I do play at. But I wouldn't say that there's a timeline. No plan, no timeline, just going with the flow.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Maya, for finding the time. Even though you're after like a hard workout, you still were kind
Yeah,
enough to talk, so that's pretty
not a
awesome. Thank
problem,
you.
not a problem. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
and
much as
enjoy the
well.
rest of your day. Thank you.
Sweet, thank you. Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.
Ciao.